When a person sees a panda, they easily forget that it is a real animal. How can an evolutionary process that has led to the existence of the most complex and dangerous creatures suddenly decide to create a being that makes mistakes from the moment it wakes up until the moment it goes to sleep? Even its sleep is full of errors. You might not believe it, but this round ball is full of evolutionary mistakes. It tries its best to become extinct. So far, many creatures have come close to extinction due to human mistakes, but they manage to save themselves. However, these geniuses do not last even with human help. It seems that their goal is extinction, which is very sad because they are really cute. But if you knew how bad it is to be an animal, you wouldn't feel too sorry for them. Pandas are awake for only 6 hours a day, and even in those 6 hours, they have nothing to do except fill and empty their stomachs, meaning eating and defecating. Of course, if we ignore getting stuck between branches and falling from trees. Their strange favorite pastime is to rub horse dung on themselves, and it's very strange that they have managed to survive for millions of years, even longer than the most dangerous creatures that once lived on Earth. One of the reasons for their mortality is falling from trees or getting stuck in branches. They behave as if every day is their first day on planet Earth. However, millions of years of life show that there might be a secret in their clumsiness. So let's take a few minutes to explore the world of the dumbest creatures on the planet, how pandas came to be, why they evolved to eat the worst possible food, and finally, why they are so interested in horse dung. Giant pandas are bears that are herbivores and live in bamboo forests in central southern China. However, although they belong to the bear family, they have followed a unique evolutionary path. About 40 million years ago, the ancestors of bears separated, and then about 23 million years ago, the bear family divided into two groups. Ailuropoda remained in one branch, and is what pandas evolved from. The other bear species ended up in the other branch. While pandas were evolving, they did something strange. They evolved not to eat meat anymore and instead chose bamboo, meaning only bamboo, a plant that most animals avoid because it has low nutritional value and is full of toxins. Cyanide is a chemical that is very toxic and can quickly have negative effects on the body. Scientists say this dietary change in pandas occurred between 6 to 7 million years ago. Now, how did they figure out that such a change happened millions of years ago? An unusual difference between the fossils that have been found has allowed scientists to estimate this time. That difference is nothing but an extra thumb. This member allows pandas to grip bamboo better in their hands. Of course, this is not a real thumb because it is actually one of their wrist bones that has grown significantly and bends in the opposite direction of their other 5 fingers. This thumb, unlike the thumb of human hands, is not very functional, but it is excellent for grabbing bamboo. Now that we have understood the secret of the thumb and know approximately when they changed their diet, how did they suddenly decide one day not to eat meat anymore and instead eat wood? For example, imagine one day you decide to eat a table instead of chicken kebab. At first glance, it doesn't make sense to suddenly only eat bamboo. In most cases, pandas still look like other bears, meaning they have sharp claws and canine teeth. Even their intestines and digestive system are exactly like those of carnivores. So are they carnivores or herbivores? When we compare carnivores with herbivores, carnivores have shorter and simpler digestive systems. The reason is that their diet is high in protein and requires less digestion time to extract the necessary nutrients. However, on the contrary, herbivores have a much harder job because their diet is low in protein, and they must digest tough materials like cellulose. Cellulose is very difficult to break down. That's why some herbivores, like cows or deer, have multiple compartments for digestion. They spend a lot of time digesting to extract the maximum amount of carbohydrates and other nutrients. But these lovable dummies surprisingly have intestines like carnivores, and unlike herbivores, they don't have a multi-chambered stomach. On the other hand, their food is extremely low in nutrients, even less nutritious than other herbivores. It's like riding in a pride car with a fuel tank that's empty. That dark moment is what we do. Pandas can only eliminate about 20% of their 100 bamboo dietary regimes. This means they need to eat about 35 kilograms of bamboo daily, which causes them to defecate about 40 times a day. Life is a funny game for animals. Those whose food is hard to come by and must hunt can digest it easily, while herbivores that eat the green food on the ground find it easy to eat but very hard to digest. But it seems that life is joking with pandas. Not only do they have a digestive system similar to carnivores, but their gut microbes also follow the carnivore pattern. These microbes play a crucial role in food digestion. Among different organisms, the diversity of gut microbes in herbivores is the highest. The second rank goes to omnivores, and finally, to carnivores. Here, all the scientists thought that a few million years would be enough time for just a few bacteria to be added to the digestive system because some animals developed wings or even came out of the water onto land during this time. But unfortunately, I have to tell you that it's not the same for pandas. In fact, when panda cubs are weaned from their mother and start eating bamboo, the diversity of their gut bacteria decreases. The story is so ridiculous that scientists have joked about it in official and reputable articles. Writing about a carnivorous digestive system that primarily has a bamboo diet is not at all common in evolution. But no matter how silly and ridiculous it seems, there is usually a reason behind the ancient adaptations of animals. The more they research, the more they realize that eating bamboo isn't that illogical for pandas. Bamboo may not have a lot of energy, but there has been and still is a lot of bamboo in southern China, and it grows very quickly. Bamboo is so dominant that in a bamboo forest, almost no other plants can grow. The reason is that they reach the light faster than others and cast shade on the rest. You can give it a try and later watch the video about the hidden language of trees. Pandas live in a world full of bamboo. The main question here is how a delicious meat-eating creature abandons meat and suddenly turns to toxic wood. It doesn't make sense at all. Scientists think that pandas experienced another strange evolutionary change that allowed them to cope with this situation. An evolutionary change that is as disturbing as it is strange. About 4.2 million years ago, pandas lost their taste receptor gene. The taste receptor gene is responsible for identifying and understanding flavors. More detailed explanations are available on the page. If you want to study it, you can listen because there is a lot of protein. A pleasant smell rises from it. That smell is due to the amino acids in those proteins, and it sends a signal indicating that something full of calories and very delicious is waiting for you here. Unfortunately, with the loss of that gene, pandas could no longer detect that pleasant smell. This probably made meat lose its previous appeal. It's as if they have been cursed, and for the first time, pandas began to eat bamboo simply because it was abundant. The unappetizing nature of meat and the abundance of bamboo gradually made them change their diet. On the other hand, they also lost their predatory instincts and turned into such cute creatures. Considering all these factors, some scientists believe that pandas have probably only been eating bamboo for about 2.4 million years. Bamboo is full of cyanide to the extent that if eaten raw, it kills most mammals. Now, why should a plant contain a poison? Many plants use cyanide as a defense mechanism. They become toxic to be eaten less. Most herbivores encounter very small doses of this toxin throughout their lives. Other herbivores, besides our foolish story, have a way to detoxify cyanide using an enzyme called mitochondrial rodin. But it seems that despite all their foolishness, they have a method to counter this poison, a method that differs from other organisms on Earth. When researchers studied the gut bacteria of pandas more closely, they found that they are not very diverse, but a specific and strong type of bacteria is found in abundance in their intestines. This bacteria helps to break down cyanide compounds so that pandas can survive. Additionally, pandas are very strategic in choosing which parts of bamboo to eat. Depending on the type of bamboo and the season, pandas may target different parts of the plant to avoid receiving the highest doses of cyanide. The amazing surprise of these creatures is that a study has proven that pandas consume as much protein as carnivores. How? Because bamboo shoots actually contain a lot of protein. The leaves of this plant are also very nutritious at certain stages of their lives. Pandas are also good at timing and know in which season of the year they should eat which part of the bamboo. This way, they receive as much protein as wild cats. Ultimately, their bamboo diet consists of 61% protein, 23% carbohydrates, and 16% fat. This fact is even observable in the milk of panda mothers, which has a higher protein ratio than the milk of herbivorous mammals. They have found a way to deceive the system, meaning they extract something very nutritious from a low-quality food source. But this is not enough. Even if pandas can technically obtain nutrients from bamboo, they still need to eat a tremendous volume of it to survive, which causes them to spend their entire lives eating. Even to cope with this issue, they have lowered their metabolism and have become very slow and move very economically. They try to use every bit of energy in the best way possible, but this does not solve all their problems. Winter in China can be very cold and harsh. Unlike other bear species that can store fat and hibernate in winter, pandas can never stop eating. Sleeping less and eating more is a great reason for the clumsiness of these creatures. It seems they have moved so little that they have forgotten how to move. Sometimes the easiest way to reach a destination is to fall and roll. Perhaps their round body shape is for this reason. However, some scientists believe that pandas roll around just for fun. But the problems of pandas never end. Pandas do not need to compete with other species to find food, for example, with large and dangerous bears, but they have one major problem. They need to eat a lot, and therefore each panda maintains a large territory for itself. For this reason, they are very solitary and use their sense of smell to stay as far away from each other as possible. And this creates some strange problems that we will get to in a minute. Male pandas usually have territories of approximately 6.5 square kilometers, while the same territory for females is about 4.5 square kilometers. But the main problem arises when they want to mate. Pandas only mate in the spring. Females are only fertile for 2 to 7 days a year, therefore they need to coordinate their mating time very precisely. They also coordinate their feeding times. When spring arrives, they try to. Through their scent glands, they can easily find each other. They sort of signal to each other as if they are giving each other their numbers. Of course, if they succeed, because the chance is very low, female pandas are pregnant for 5 months to give birth to a little panda cub. This little cub is 800 times smaller than its mother. More than 50% of the time, they become twins, although usually the weaker cub is abandoned. Pandas can usually only care for one cub because the little cub requires constant and careful attention. And they don't have time for that. They are always eating. This causes their population to decrease day by day and come closer to their impossible evolutionary path. Now, what's the story behind their interest in horse dung? Final part, Pandas' interest in horse dung. This means that dung might be the secret to their ongoing survival. The giant panda of Phoping, China, very specifically rubs dung on their face and neck. Do they do this for fun or as another attempt at extinction? Recently, scientists think they have made progress in the mystery of horse dung. They realize that pandas do this more when the weather is cold, which means it's a method for them to keep warm. Because pandas are highly protected, direct experiments on them are impossible. Researchers have typically used unfortunate mice to find answers. When they covered the mice with the dung compounds in question, they saw that they walked more easily on cold surfaces and gathered less for warmth. Some experts believe this could be a way for pandas to endure the cold and harsh winters and avoid hibernation while constantly eating. On the other hand, it seems that this, like their other behaviors, is a mistaken method because when their bodies no longer sense the cold, it may cause them not to seek shelter anymore. And so this is how the theory of fun came about. Many scientists believe that pandas do this just for fun or that they like the smell of dung. So, at best, this is a strange and slightly disgusting behavior. All of this has led some scientists to believe that panda populations have been declining for thousands of years or even more. Some say that if humans had never existed, pandas might still go extinct in the near future. They respond very slowly to changes. One of the main reasons is the specific nature of the place they live in, as in that environment. Anything that wants to change suddenly has a very low chance of survival. The decline in panda populations accelerated rapidly in the 18th century when agriculture and human civilization expanded significantly in central China. Since then, the habitat of pandas has been fragmented in thousands of ways, such as dams, roads, and railways. These are just 3 methods. These barriers have made it difficult for pandas to find each other for mating, and on the other hand, the bamboo forests that are their food source have become smaller and smaller. Another factor that has reduced their population is the illegal hunting of pandas. Currently, there are about 1,864 pandas remaining in the wild, and if we don't do something for them, they will certainly go extinct. Panda breeding programs have helped improve the situation of these creatures a bit. Now, humans are trying to build pathways that connect protected areas so that pandas can potentially have a successful date with each other. Overall, the best part of biological studies is that we can answer some strange questions, such as how evolution has been able to change everything in the most complex ways possible. This video is derived from the reputable and popular channel Real Science. The link to all sources is always in the description. Thank you for staying with us until the end of the video.